Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone doing today?
So good.
Excited to be here.
Well, it's going to be another amazing live stream as always for everyone joining. We will be talking about AI-powered solutions for designer blocks. So join us for an exciting episode where we explore how artificial intelligence, including ChatGPT and image generation or other tools that designers use to combat designer block. So this is going to be a fun episode chatting about how AI can help us with blocking those designers, those designer brains. Oh man, I mean, dealing with that, is crazy. Let's introduce each other. So I'm Efren. I'm an instructional media designer. I deal with script writing and design in videos or other ways to engage media with students.
I'm Callista Dawson. I'm a learning experience design manager. I also specialize in media and making our online courses more fun and engaging and memorable. And I also use AI tools for script writing, developing ideas, just really heavily using it for brainstorming. And like Efren said, getting past those writer's block moments, those artist block moments.
I'm Alyssa Imes, and I'm an instructional designer. So I primarily work with SMEs, which are subject matter experts. So we can design our courses and make assignments and discussions just a lot of fun for students throughout the entire process.
Hi, I'm Victoria Bai, and like Alyssa, I'm also an instructional designer. We work closely with Efren and Alyssa's team in the media side, as well as our SME, our subject matter expert. Together, we brainstorm and work together to create the most engaging and interactive courses for our students to enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you for joining, and also everyone else that's here viewing our audience. Speaking of that, how did you even deal with blocker designer artist design blocks without AI? I know for me it was I mean the process and the time it saved using AI to help with that. Like for some of you, how did you deal with designer block when without AI?
Gosh, I've been at this a long time. So without dating myself too much, like pen and paper and just being very observant of what is out there on the internet and just finding inspiration wherever I could. But that wasn't always easy and it wasn't always fast. So, I mean, the introduction of AI just in this past year, it's mind-blowing how quickly you can get from 0 to 100 in terms of like creative juice flow.
For me, I feel like I just asked a lot of questions and brought things to my smaller team of IDs for specific ID questions and just brainstormed with them. So I think that was the easiest way to get other people's inputs and ideas without using AI.
Yeah, it's before the age of AI. Without that, so age. But yeah, it was not that long ago actually, but it's very recent, spans of months. Before if I ever do, which is quite frequent, that I reach the designers or the writer's block.
Yeah.
Usually I sit back and just let the subconscious do the work. I mean, I just wait for ideas and it could be anything, any inspiration I see, whether I'm on a walk where I'm just sitting back taking a break to refill my coffee.
Yeah.
Any ideas that come to mind, I'll jot it down because that will be a useful writing point. And they'll all mesh together.
Oh man, I remember just looking at blank screen and just not knowing
Watching the cursor blink.
really, like even for like an artist that's starting a canvas of black, white and black canvas, is just what am I gonna paint? I have no inspiration. You gotta go find inspiration somewhere. You're
Vic, are they frozen on your end?
no, not. It's just because.
Was it just me? Okay. I was like,
I thought you were playing with us.
No, you're back.
okay, hi. I was about to panic.
But yeah, so before AI, I remember working with the IMD team and the IDE teams is collaborating. It was a very important part, was collaborating. So one thing is that we would create a storyboard or an idea or a script, and we would share it with each other. What do you think? If we want to re-script or it doesn't make sense, because sometimes when we create something, we're just like, oh yeah, it kind of makes sense, or you're kind of just rushing through it because you're like, I just want it done, and it's not, sometimes it's not really our best work because we kind of just force it to be done when we feel like, no, I think we need more collaboration. And I think when we add AI to it, we're collaborating back and forth. Like, I don't like that idea. Let's take that out and let's put this idea in. And then you're getting kind of a feedback coming back from AI or ChatGPT. And I think that's why that tool really helps save a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I still getting some feedback from the team because I still think it's important to get a human contact with what's going on, visually. What is some of the tools you guys use to
The AI tools?
yeah, any special tools that you use besides ChatGPT or?
I mean, I like to use several and even compare the results that I get from them. So ChatGPT for a while was the only one I was using because that was, what everybody was talking about. But now that Bard has been released and the Bing chat, I've used that as well. They all have different personalities, I've noticed, and like the way that they approach answering your question is very different. The results you get might have a lot of similarities, but even the delivery of the answer is different. And being on the media side of things, I like to use things like Adobe Firefly for image generation. But I really do spend most of my brainstorming energy using a chat language model. And like you can ask it anything and it'll basically just have a conversation with you. So instead of having a slow, drawn out conversation with your team, you're getting this more rapid fire conversation happening with the chat. We have a comment in the stream here if you want to address that, Everin.
Oh, it's from George Hanshaw. What is the craziest place you found inspiration? I wouldn't. Crazy is hard. I mean, I like to find inspiration in a museum, but that's not crazy.
Your inner artist, yeah.
For me, I guess it's more of a cliche inspiration. It's not crazy, but like I said, I like to take a walk to take a brain break because I want to clear the mind. Sometimes it's actually overthinking that stops my flow. So, like I said, it's pretty cliche, but I find it when I'm at the lake. I live close to a lake, so I just walk there and I sit and just clear my mind. And it could be inspiration from the random heron in the water.
I have a story that's coming to mind. Back when the pandemic first started and Disney Plus was becoming a thing, and they introduced this feature where you could like basically have a watch party with your friends, even though you were all at your own homes. And so one of our team members at the time was like, we should have a watch party. And I want to say we were watching WandaVision. And so several of us watched WandaVision together as like R&D time, which was a little bit of a stretch, but we had a debrief afterwards and came up with so many crazy ideas for how we could just pull inspiration from something like a Marvel episode, and we ended up implementing several things that, I mean, some of the stuff we brainstormed during the pandemic has really affected the trajectory of where we're at now. I mean, we're now producing fully mobile CBE master's degrees. Like, what? How did we get here? Did it start with watching WandaVision during the pandemic? You can't tell me it doesn't have anything to do with that.
I think I remember being in that chat.
That was pretty crazy.
I know where we get a lot of our inspiration is from vibing.
Yeah. We had a nice live stream about that last week, didn't we?
A lot of our inspiration for the things that we do now is from the vibe. We're inspired by crazy ideas. That's why I feel like no idea is crazy. These are just concepts that we just, what if? And we play that what if game, We're kind of playing that, kind of really imagining outside of the box, something that we're just never even thought of, or even someone that just kind of spoke out and be like, what if we do this? It's like something we just never thought of. Is there something you do as well, Alyssa, that you have with it?
I was trying to think of the craziest place, and the only thing that comes to mind is the gym. I feel like the gym is where I just can think and have time to think. So a lot of my ideas come from the gym when I'm listening to music. I feel like it ties into something I'm doing, or a podcast. Something they say, I can take that and then bring it to work. So I feel like that's not a really crazy place, but for me, the gym is really my thinking place.
I agree with podcasts. I love listening to podcasts, and so often, even if it's not a podcast related to what I'm doing at work, they will say something and it will trigger a thought. And I'm like, why don't we do that? That's applicable. Bring it over.
That's true. I remember listening to a podcast actually, and that's how I got inspired onto storytelling.
Yeah.
So it's when I use ChatGPT. Well, see, there's a difference from when I use Bing and ChatGPT when it comes to storytelling. Okay. I was like, can you help me kind of brainstorm a story to do a scenario base or something?
Right.
I asked Bing first, and it would just give me here, this is how you do it, and then they give you instructions of how to do it. But when you ask ChatGPT, they'll actually just make a concept and just actually make a story for you.
Oh.
I don't know if you noticed that it does that, and I'm like, I kind of just need inspiration. You're just throwing me step by step, how to
yeah, it's Bing's not giving you enough and Chat's giving you too much. I wonder if Bard would be in the middle.
I think it is in the middle, if I'm right, because I know I played with those three. It was Bing, ChatGPT, and Bard.
I would like to jump in on that one, because scenario-based learning, I mean, there's so much evidence to prove how effective that is as a teaching method, allowing students to think through a concept in a first-person story, because we're humans, we're wired for story. We love to consume story-based content. But if I'm working on a course in a subject I know nothing about, how the heck do I create a scenario for that subject when I have no experience, right? So if I need to come up with a scenario for something in healthcare, which I have absolutely no experience with, I would definitely rely on AI to give me some direction, even, and the cool thing with ChatGPT, it's going to take a stab at writing out the scenario. Then it's my job to fact check and make sure that the scenario actually makes sense and it's actually applicable. And that's something I can take to my subject matter expert and be like, what do you think? How would you change this? How would you make it better? but it becomes this launch pad. You know, I don't have to go read a whole textbook about the subject
Mhm.
and spend 2 weeks learning it myself in order to make an informed piece of media.
I know working with a lot of the subject matter experts really helps with fact checking all or the ideas we come up, or like even the stories that we create, or they even suggest articles that would help create those scenario bases or learning media. So that's another part of like something that AI can do too, but we also need like a subject matter expert on the other end so that we make sure that we get our information correct or right.
I mean, part of me feels like if you're just going to the language model for your research, it's almost equivalent to like going on Wikipedia. You know, it's probably a little more accurate than Wikipedia because it's pulling, well, I don't know, because it's pulling all of its content from the internet, right? So there really is a responsibility level on us, especially working in higher ed, where we're trying to teach people, you know, to be at a higher level of learning. We can't just pop a prompt into AI and then copy and paste what it generates into our courses. Like that would be so irresponsible.
So that's why sometimes it's good to actually grab something from ChatGPT and then actually post it in different areas as well. Like I know Bing is good at kind of finding resources as well, but you know we still have to check it. But it will lead you to a website where it got its sources, which is a good thing too.
That's a nice feature.
Yeah. So has anyone used text to generate images to help any of your design work?
I have played with generative image creation. I don't use it a lot. I mostly use it if I'm just like dressing a course where like I need some specific image and I'm not finding it in any stock library. Then I'll take a shot at generating it. We did a live stream. Mike and I did a live stream where we played with different tools that could do that. And it's fun to play with it. And it's also kind of fun to push them and see where they struggle. Because like hands, faces, these are things that not all AI tools can handle. So in a sense, you're kind of playing with Play-Doh. You never know what you're going to end up with.
I love it, yeah.
But yeah, like I love watching artists or media designers play in generative imagery and just using that again as a launch pad. Like this isn't going to be the piece that I post on the internet and claim as my own, but it's going to shove me in a direction that I would have gotten there eventually, or maybe I would have never gotten there because my brain couldn't iterate that many times that quickly. It's just interesting to see the power of iteration at such a fast scale and speed. Have you used it?
Yes, I have. So when I use it, I actually use it for when I'm creating videos. So I would actually ask ChatGPT, like, so I would get my script, right?
Yeah.
I would put it in ChatGPT and I'd say, can you separate these into scenes? And give it what is that? Like a illustration of each scene.
Like visual key.
Yeah, visual aid, I guess you would consider.
Yeah.
And then I would grab that and then put it into a generative AI, and then it would give me an idea. And I would grab that image that it would assume it was, and I would put it in one of the pages for each scene. I would just leave it there as inspiration, and then go back and maybe search on for any licensed area where I could get some videos and use that as an inspiration. So it's like storyboarding and scripting at the same time, and then you visually, it helps you get through 10 pages in at a faster pace. And maybe having that time saved can help you get more creative. And that's what I like using about AI, is giving you more space to be creative. Has any of that helped you on your end, Lisa, Victoria? Lisa?
I feel like I use it differently than you guys because as an instructional designer, I'm not doing more of the media part of it. So for me, it's a little bit different. And like we talked about how pre-AI, I used to just talk to like a smaller team and get their input. One way that I still brainstorm is as we're talking in our small team and as I'm bringing my questions, I find that in our small group, we're bringing AI into that conversation as if it's an additional person. So we get like another viewpoint on it. So I do that. One thing that I do a lot now that we're live streaming is I use AI to brainstorm for live streams to help me prepare. So something as simple as today, which is talking about brainstorming, I used an AI tool to brainstorming ideas for and I found that it provided so many fun ideas that I haven't even thought about or been exposed to that I think I would love to try out in the future. And one idea that I thought would be fun to talk about was how if you're working on like social media or live streams and you want to gain like a bigger audience, you could do a sentiment analysis and AI can help you, like, you know, you can have it review the videos you're doing and provide feedback on what your audience feels about what you're doing and then brainstorm ideas off of that. So that's something that I would like to do possibly in the future, is just help us look at what we're doing and how can we connect with our audience even greater. So I think that'd be fun.
I love that idea, and I love the whole concept of sentiment analysis. Like that's something I try to do just with the available data that we have, but I hadn't considered using AI to boost that effort even further. Like I've been using AI a lot, like in post when I'm done with my project and it's going to go on YouTube and then get embedded into our courses. Like we have to do a good job of describing the video on YouTube. And sometimes I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. Like what would be the best way to describe this? And AI can do a very good job of getting you there faster and coming up with hashtags that will make your SEO score go up. And you can workshop titles for the videos that would be more engaging and get people to watch, you know, more effectively. And just things I never put that much thought into before. But like we're creating all this content and we're putting it out there for the public on our YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe. We're posting new things all the time. And, you know, having to learn the backside of it, the part that doesn't come naturally as a media designer. What could make this reach further? What would make this more valuable to my audience? How can I communicate to the audience that this is something they want to watch?
Yeah, I think even like how I'm preparing for the live stream using AI, if, you know, someone in the audience, if you're using it, if you have meetings and you don't feel prepared, you can use AI to prepare you on the topic, maybe have it give you hypothetical scenarios, brainstorm different ideas so you feel prepared for your meetings. I find that's one of my biggest tools and ways I use AI is as an ID when we go into different subjects. Like right now I'm in a criminal justice course. I don't know anything about criminal justice, but I will use AI as a brainstorming tool to teach me. That way, when I go into these meetings, I at least feel a little bit prepared. So,
got a fish out of water.
Good. It's an amazing idea generator and also feedback provider. Like Phyllis and Alyssa mentioned, like for me, I I've done pretty much almost all the entire bachelor's of art in psych, where my whole academic career, I probably took 2 courses in psychology. Yeah, but that's where I have our amazing subject matter expert with their wealth of knowledge on the subject. I generate ideas, ask prompts to provide feedback, and then I sign it up and tag our SME to proofread it and verify and fact checks all the information, because I have to keep it in mind that it's not the final product. AI is not, because then when if that is your final project, then you get in the gray zone of plagiarism as well as ethical concerns, because now who's writing it? It's just a tool, and you use tools to your advantage.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, and we are firmly planted in a future right now where AI is not going anywhere. And I'm sure most people have heard the quote, like, there's that fear that AI is going to take your job. It's not the AI that's going to take your job. It's the people who know how to use it that are going to take your job.
Yeah.
So it's becoming clear now that to stay relevant in almost any industry, you're going to have to learn how AI is changing your industry.
Yep.
And you got to stay on top of it.
Yeah, they are just tools along with calculators and whatnot.
Right. I mean, people thought calculators were cheating for a long time.
You got to master prompting.
Yes, you have to know how to talk to the language model in a way that produces content that's useful.
That's the perfect course right there, mastering prompting.
But yeah, I mean, being in higher ed, that is the struggle, right? Of like, there's this tension between, is it ethical to use it? Is it just a tool? Like, how are students leveraging it? Are they approaching it as though they're cheating, or are they approaching it as though they're improving their own work and their own learning experience? Are they being resourceful, or are they being deceitful? There's tension there.
Like, AI has gone multifold because of ChatGPT and the advances, but we have to remember Grammarly has been around for, I am not going to say a timeline because I'll probably be wrong since I don't know exactly. But
It's been around a while.
It's been a long time already. Grammarly is also another generative AI tool that's been around for a long time, and it has tremendously helped our students and ourselves to improve our writing, especially if English is not if our students are struggling with English, or it's not their first language. So it's just right now it's more full-blown because ChatGPT is very advanced at it. Writes pretty much the entire essay for you.
It could if you wanted it to, and it could do it in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think AI, as it's growing so quickly, I think we just have to be open to, because it's growing so quickly and it's advancing, that only means that we can advance and grow our courses more than they already are and create more engaging content that maybe we wouldn't have thought about pre-AI. So as another brainstorming example, when we're looking at CLOs, which are course learning outcomes, a lot of the time we resort to a paper because that's easy. It's simple. That's just where our minds go. But we can use AI to brainstorm alternative assessments to assess these CLOs. So maybe it's an infographic. I used an AI tool to help me brainstorm different assessments for a criminal justice course, and something fun was like a mock trial, which maybe I wouldn't have thought about if I didn't use the AI tool. So I just strongly suggest using it as a brainstorming method to help grow the engagement of students in courses, because we want students to feel engaged and we want them to feel like they have, fun and they're empowered in these courses.
Yeah, I just used it for that same purpose. I was working on an assignment that I'm doing in the MSIDT program. And I have to come up with this learning module. And part of that learning module is what are these students going to read, watch, or engage with, the different learning assets. And it's like, I'm going to design all of those assets, but ChatGPT or BARD or whatever, if I ask it, what are some ideas of types of assets I could create, it spits out like 25 different ideas. It's like, you could do this, you could do that. And then I go from there. I was like, okay, yeah, I do want to produce a simulation that will help them experience this thing in a first person kind of way. Create that safe space to fail, right? And it'll give you as much detail as you ask it for. So then it's on me, like, how creative do I want to be? How much of my creativity do I want to bring into this, and how much do I want to rely on the AI? If I'm making that decision as the artist to just keep it in the brainstorming bucket, I can leave it there. Just take the initial idea and run with it. If I need a little more help, I can go to the next stage and be like, okay, generate some content for me so I can get an idea of how this activity might work. And then I can jump from there. What I don't want to do is have it design the whole thing for me and I just go, okay, that's good, and put it in the course.
Yeah, that's one thing that I love about being an ID is the possibilities are endless, and the creativity part of it is going to, you have as much room to be as creative as you want. And that's what the AI tools can kind of help with, is just brainstorming those ideas. But if you love being creative and want to create these fun assessments or fun ideas and courses, we have a MSIDT program, which is a Master's of Science in Instructional Design and Technology, that I wanted to pop up on this screen. So if you are interested in being creative and kind of taking that route, please look into it, and you can send us a message at msidT@lapu.edu for more information, and we will be very happy to talk to you more about it.
Well, that was a fun conversation on AI. I know we can talk about
keep going forever, but I think we covered it.
I don't know. We can all agree that AI really helped us on our professional side as well. And don't be afraid to use AI. It's a tool. Don't think of it as you're cheating or you're finding a quick way to do something, but it's a way to help be more creative. Well, just want to thank everyone for your time conversating on another awesome topic, and also for the audience for joining us today. Do we want to say our favorite quote? We have to say it. 3, 2, 1. This
is what learning feels like.